Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of August 31st, 2024. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel AUC Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Southern group of forces occupied more advantageous positions and inflicted heavy losses on Ukrainian brigades in key areas, effectively repelling a counterattack by the 24th Mechanized Brigade. This resulted in significant casualties and the destruction of various military assets, including a tank and multiple artillery units.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, where we dive deep into military operations and strategies. Today, we're joined by Colonel AUC Oguntoye, who will provide an update on the ongoing special military operation as of August 31st, 2024. Colonel, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's important to communicate our operational progress clearly.
Colonel, could you start by summarizing the major developments in the operation over the last week?
Over the past week, our forces have been very active across several fronts. We've carried out massive and targeted strikes using long-range precision weapons, including Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, which have effectively hit critical Ukrainian infrastructure like energy facilities and airfield installations. This has significantly disrupted their operational capabilities.
That sounds quite comprehensive. Can you detail the outcomes of these engagements, particularly in the North Group of Forces?
In the north, specifically in the Liptsov and Volchansk directions, we've successfully engaged the 92nd Airborne Assault Brigade and the 113th Territorial Defense Brigade. Our operations there have resulted in the loss of 125 Ukrainian servicemen and the destruction of multiple vehicles and artillery units.
Moving to the West Group of Forces, what can you tell us about their progress?
The West Group has improved their tactical positions significantly. They've taken control of key settlements and repelled multiple counterattacks from Ukrainian brigades, leading to substantial enemy losses, including 460 servicemen and several pieces of key artillery.
How about the Southern Group's activities?
The Southern Group has also made significant advances, occupying more advantageous positions and dealing heavy blows to the Ukrainian forces. They've repelled an important counterattack and inflicted severe losses on the enemy, including the destruction of a tank and several artillery pieces.
And what successes can you report from the Center and East Groups?
In the center, our forces have liberated the settlement of Kirovo and continue to push deep into enemy lines, defeating several Ukrainian brigades. The East Group, similarly, has improved their tactical situation and dealt decisive blows to Ukrainian forces, securing key territorial gains.
With such extensive operations, how effective have your air defense systems been?
Our air defenses have been extremely effective, downing multiple ATACMS missiles, aerial bombs, and a significant number of UAVs, which has been crucial in maintaining the integrity of our operations and protecting our forces.
Colonel, what is the strategic outlook for the coming days? And what is happening in the Pokrovskoye direction?
We are committed to continuing our strategic objectives, which include further degrading the enemy's military capabilities and securing our tactical gains. After reaching Brodavka, the petals of the offensive began to open up to the north in the Elizavetovka area. Now the Ukrainian armed forces are under threat of a strike towards the junction at Konstantinovka. Lysovka, adjacent to Pokrovsk, is also currently considered by the Ukrainian Armed Forces Command on the ground as an unstable line of defense that will most likely not be held to the last soldier. At the same time, fighting is taking place in the Seladovo area. The city is 25% occupied by Russian troops, but after Novogrodovka, the Ukrainian armed forces drew conclusions and pulled up reserves for defense and slowed down the advance of the Russian armed forces to Pokrovsk from the south.
Finally, Colonel, it is also curious that brigades from other directions, unfamiliar with the terrain and the specifics of combat operations, appear near Pokrovsk.
A part is being transferred from the Zaporizhia and Kherson directions, but full deployment and combat operations have not yet taken place due to problems with communications and poor coordination. Cases of friendlier fire have become more frequent, to which Russian artillery is periodically connected. The southern flank is still considered a priority for defense, so here, judging by the dynamics of the fighting, Ukrainian troops will most likely resist to the last. There is some confusion. Retreating units are mixed with defense units, with their own command and control, which is why rotation and replenishment of ammunition and equipment occurs in a chaotic manner, which is made use of by Russian artillery. Krasnopoli and FPV drones are actively working. The operation continues with intense focus and coordination across all units to achieve these goals.
What else is important to understand about the Kursk operation?
And the Kursk region remains tense but relatively stable, with no significant shifts in the front line. The Russian armed forces are actively engaged in repelling Ukrainian offensives, particularly in the Koronevsky and Sudzansky districts, where intense battles are reported. Ukrainian forces are attempting localized advances, employing mobile groups to penetrate Russian defenses, which are countered by robust Russian artillery and tactical strikes. Notably, key areas such as Krymainoe remain under Russian control, despite repeated Ukrainian attacks. The situation in forested areas east of Koronivo suggests strategic maneuvers, possibly preparing for further offensives. Additionally, the region has seen significant destruction of Ukrainian logistics and supply points, notably in Sumy Oblast, where Russian forces have targeted ammunition depots and temporary deployment points. The ongoing conflict is marked by dynamic frontline engagements to gain an advantage in a contested area.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
It's my duty to inform, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so here. Israel's military is conducting raids in Jenin and the occupied West Bank, blocking access to aid for Palestinians in the besieged refugee camp on the fourth day of its assault. Dozens of Israeli soldiers were stationed on the outskirts of the Jenin refugee camp, with Israeli military jeeps and armored personnel carriers moving into the area.